Hey everybody, Hannah Henry here, and some people call me Sunshine, which I love that nickname because it just reminds me that I'm supposed to shine bright for y'all and for Jesus, and I know it's kind of cheesy, but it's true. So I just wanted to do an introduction video. I know I've already posted videos of songs that I have sung, and but I wanted to give an introduction of like myself personally and what the end goal dream is here, and like just my purpose for in all of doing this. So let's go ahead and get started. I don't know if y'all can tell or not, but I am wearing makeup. This is like my everyday makeup kind of thing, you know, if I'm just going into town or whatever. And so yeah, so I did go into town, and of course getting makeup on and everything, but I did this Bible study with a group of young women, and it was really good. I don't remember who it was, or what the name of it was, but it's by Priscilla Shirer, Shirer, I think, something like that. She is very godly woman, definitely somebody to seek wisdom and advice from. She plays on War Room. If y'all haven't seen that, that's a great movie too. But she wrote a Bible study that I did with a group of young women, and it just helped get a different perspective about myself and things that go on in my life. And so kind of the purpose kind of stuff, that you have to deal with. But like, what's the purpose in this, or why do I have to look this way, or I wish I could fix this, why is my confidence level so low? And it was just about finding your identity in Christ. And so it really boosted my confidence, and I still struggle with my confidence, but it did boost my confidence. And so I to where I thought I had to wear makeup all the time, I'm now to like, well, I'm fine if I don't wear makeup. Like, I'm okay with my face feeling free and, letting it feel fresh. And so just like letting people see the flaws is not like a sin. You can let people see you. I kind of feel like sometimes we put makeup on to hide things, and of course we have our flaws. And but then you also do it to highlight certain things that you want to pop out on your face, whether it's you make your lips look bigger, or your nose smaller, or your eyes really pop, or whatever. And I know for me that like I've always like thought that the blue eyes and blonde hair was like the thing, but I've learned to accept the way that I look and like not try and fix me. Blue eyes and blonde hair isn't that's not perfect. That's just the way God created them, and brown eyes and brown hair is the way God created me. So that's all connected with the makeup thing and the confidence thing. And so most of my videos I won't be doing makeup. I won't like be having it on or whatever. I don't wear it that much now, and so I just don't. So I'm just gonna show y'all, like, y'all can see me better than some of the other videos. Y'all can see me better right now. So I'm just going to kind of all I have is some like mascara on right now. I didn't put powder or eyeliner on. I don't do false eyelashes. I think that the glue and the hassle of all that is just would be too much for me. Plus I heard you can get lice from those. So I actually know somebody who got lice from that, and so I just don't want to take a chance at that. So I don't do the whole fake eyelash thing. But so I'm just going to, you'll see kind of the general idea of what I look like with makeup. And so now I'm just going to take it off so y'all can get, like, y'all see the difference or whatever. And so I don't mind doing this. This is kind of like, I don't take off makeup for people. This is definitely me being vulnerable here, and that's what this video is about. This is about me showing y'all, like me personally, and just letting y'all kind of have insight to also like how this affects my music. Ooh, kind of watery there. So, yeah. So, and I'm not going to go and actually wash my face, and like leave y'all here hanging. So I'm just going to kind of just use my eye makeup remover here. And, then I'm just going to use wet wipes, to be honest with y'all, because I'll of course wash my face after this, but I just want to get y'all like the general idea of what I look like with it on and look like with it off. I just want to be real with y'all, because that's just, my music is real. I have a hard time sometimes being vulnerable, but to be honest, I prefer to be vulnerable because that means I can trust you. And I know that for me, I've been told that I'm very gullible whenever I was younger, and I'm still gullible to quite a bit of things. I don't know a whole lot of compared to other kids at my age. Yeah. And I just know that based upon my experiences and interactions with other people. Yeah. Try and hurry this up for y'all. But, so there's just kind of me showing y'all me. So yeah, I'm kind of proud of the way I look and the way God has created me, because I know that He created me with brown hair and brown eyes, and I am the way I am because He wanted me to be this way. I truly believe that God has He is involved in every little detail. That's just how much He cares. That's another thing I learned in the Bible study, is that He loves you and He cares about every little detail in your life, because it affects how you look at Him and how you deal with things, and how you grow towards Him. And so, yeah. So that's all. So, majority of it. So y'all can get the idea. This is me taking off. It kind of symbolizes me taking off the mask, me being real with y'all. And so, yeah, like I've said, I love being vulnerable because that means I can trust you. And so if I share with y'all anything, it's give y'all the reason and what I do and why I do it. So yeah, let's go ahead and trying to get my brain process here. This is a lot for me. I speak like Moses. I have a hard time speaking and like getting what's on my heart and on my mind out. But so yeah, this is just me being real, and through my music, I am very vulnerable. All the music that I write involves me going back to a situation that I was in and kind of talking about like where I was spiritually with that. But then it's also, God's words that I'm writing down on paper. I truly believe that He's the one who's given me the words to write on the page. And, as far as finding the chords, I think He gives that to me too. I have to find a feel for the song, whether it's supposed to be upbeat, or, kind of in between, or like really slow. And so most of them tell kind of like a story. And so, yeah. So, the purpose of me doing these videos and stuff is for me for y'all to, see me and promote me. I believe that God is calling me to, I guess, do music professionally. I want to sing and play my guitar around the United States. I love to travel. I don't know that I necessarily like every aspect of traveling, but I love seeing new places. But then I also love sharing my testimony, and I love sharing God's love and just shining, being a sunshine. So, as y'all can see, I love sunflowers. And, of course, that has, not just because they're pretty, it has a symbolic reason, too. But, yeah, so, yeah, so, clean that up. So, yeah, so that's the purpose of me doing this video is I want to, I'm already doing a little bit of college, but I hope to go to a 4-year university where they help me in music business and learning the business and how to market myself. And I'm wanting to sing for Jesus and just share that love with other people and inspire other people and, hopefully plant that seed, plant the gospel in their hearts, and hopefully they're open to it and God can start a work. So, I guess I'll go ahead and share my testimony with y'all. So, let's see. So, when I was about 5, I first experienced grief, and, I know that some people think that's kind of young or, unreasonable to think, well, you're too young, you can't really have feelings of grief, but you can. I was very close with my great-grandpa, and he, other people they could see that we were inseparable. I loved him. He was just somebody I stuck to, and I would go hang out with the men just to be by him, and I would listen to sometimes the boring conversations just to stand by him. And so, my great-grandmother said that, I remember being very sad the day of his funeral, but she said we were just inseparable. So, I remember being sad that day, and I still miss him. I wonder what he would think, about me now, or what he'd have to say, or, there's so many stories I didn't get to hear, and so, that was my first time with real grief, and so, that happened, and then, whenever I was 6, my dad was called to be a pastor of Trail Life Cowboy Church, and, so at the age of 6, I already was an oldest daughter, and then I became a pastor's daughter, so all the expectations that go with that. So, but I'm thankful for the way that I grew up, and I wouldn't choose any other way. So, so at the age of 6, my dad was a pastor, and I got baptized, and I was saved. And a couple years rolled on by. Around the age of 8 and 9, I became interested in the guitar, and so I got my first guitar, a Christmas, whether I was 8 or 9, I can't remember my exact age, but I got it for Christmas, and it was electric, and I still have it. It's in my room somewhere, and so I started doing guitar lessons with that, and then I started singing whenever I was 4, and so I've been singing basically since, for about 14 years, and I've been playing guitar for about 10 years. So, I love the guitar, and then, from the ages of 11, 12, 13, and 14, I started doing specials at our church, and that's basically I would sing 1 or 2 songs on the stage, and then I get back off, for worship, and so that was what I did for a long time. And so I sang and play my guitar, and then my great grandmother died, and this is another great grandmother that I was fortunate enough to get to have in my life, and she died when I was 12. She had cancer, and then her middle daughter, my grandmother, had been diagnosed with breast cancer for the second time, and it was stage 4, and it was in her bone marrow. And I had always wanted to be a doctor of the sort. I didn't know what, but I knew I wanted to be a doctor. And then whenever she got cancer again, I wanted to be an oncologist. And so I kind of took her on as my mission. I emotionally internalized it all, and I didn't think I was going to save her from it, but I definitely had that desire to try and figure it out. I definitely wanted to help her in any way I could. I remember constantly asking questions about how she was doing, what the doctor said, and I was just very much wanting to be involved in it all. And so she passed away whenever I was 14, and I kind of just shut down. Those few days at the hospital that I was there with my family, it was, I'll never forget it because I've gone over it a million times in my mind. And of course that, for me, it just made the grieving process harder for me. Just to keep going over all that over and over again. She passed away on Mother's Day, and so I just kind of shut down. I didn't want to go to church. I didn't want to read my Bible. I didn't want to play specials. I don't even know that I really wanted to play my guitar, and I didn't want to sing. I kind of just was like, okay, God, you're going to do this to me. I'm going to hurt you back, was basically where I was at spiritually with my walk with him. And so, after a while, I kind of had to I had to self-evaluate, and I had to look at myself and say, okay, you can't keep doing this. You said that you love Jesus and that you are going to obey him and, listen to him and trust him. And, you said you were committed, and yet you've turned. And so I was having to really look at myself. And for a 14-year-old, that's hard to have to come to a decision like, okay, I'm either going to follow God or I'm not. And so I decided that I needed to stay. I was going to stay, and I, in a way, wanted to. I was still hurt and upset and still asked why, but I knew that if I died the next day, I would want to be on good terms with God. So, I needed to trust God, and I needed to lean on him, whether I understood why or not. And so that wasn't, for me, the creation, to question the Creator. And every piece is important. I am thankful, as crazy as this sounds, I'm thankful for every dark place that I've been in, because I've either gained a different perspective, or I've gained wisdom from it, or I've learned something, whatever. So I'm thankful for every dark place, as crazy as that sounds. But so I continued, and I think at the age of 15, I joined the church band. I was in a good spot at 15, um, as far as with my walk with the Lord. And so I joined the church band, and a couple years went by, and I turned 16. And then that summer, there was a young man that I had always thought he was nice or he was cute or whatever. And so that summer he had volunteered to do the recreation for VBS at our church. And so I volunteered to be his helper in that. And so, we helped each other and we had fun, watching the kids play outside, and it was good. And then I organized our church's annual fall festival, and he was a volunteer for a booth, a game. And at the end of the night, he ended up asking for my phone number, and we talked here and there. It wasn't a whole lot really, but we did text here and there, and we slowly started going to church events together, like arena nights and stuff like that. So one thing led to another, and by the end of the year, around the end of the year, Dad allowed me to date this nice guy. And so I had my first boyfriend. I had my first date, my first boyfriend, and I was so excited because all of my teenage years I thought something was wrong with me because I didn't have a boyfriend. I thought, well, you're just not even going to get married. You've never even had a boyfriend. And if you're watching this and you're in your teenage years, or even if you're an adult and you've never had a boyfriend, nothing is wrong with you. You are the way you are because God made you that way. Don't think it's you or you have to change anything. That's like not even clear thinking. So it wasn't me. It just wasn't time. God said later. You don't need a boyfriend right now. And anyway, so we dated, and he had really bad migraines for a while before we dated, and he had an MRI scheduled, and that whole thing was, for me, it was very, I would say, traumatic. I'd never seen something like that before. When you see somebody in that much pain, it very much takes a toll on you emotionally to see somebody in pain that you really care about. And so he had an MRI, and he was too sick to do one. He kept throwing up every time he lay down. So we went to the emergency room and kind of find out he had tons of fluid built up in his brain that was not able to drain out properly. Dead tissue was blocking a little, I don't know the word for it, but it was blocking an area where the fluid should have been draining out. And so they were going to have to do surgery. And they went to the third ventricle, and they did surgery on his brain. And he came out okay. And then he had malignant hypothermia symptoms because of the anesthesia that they gave him. He was allergic to it, and they didn't even know it. And so they caught it early. If they hadn't have it, malignant hypothermia is when everything goes up and it skyrockets. So if they hadn't have caught it, he would have died. It would have basically fried him up, and he wouldn't be here. So was so thankful for God for just everything, because those couple days I thought, I was going to lose somebody that I really cared about again. It was a lot for me. So he ended up having short-term memory loss because of all that. And at first he didn't even, he would ask the same questions over and over again. And at first he remembered that he liked me, but he didn't remember that we had been dating. So basically he had forgotten us. He had forgotten Christmas, Thanksgiving, and us dating. He had forgotten it. So, that was a lot. But, and I didn't realize, I had been told that I was loyal, but I didn't realize how loyal I was, until I saw that, wow, I'm staying in this relationship with somebody, and it's only because of God that I stayed that long, and through something like that. So we continued, and his family and I, we drilled him. We drilled him hard, and we were pushing him. He did a whole bunch of stuff to help him improve, and he has improved greatly since. And we're all proud of the progress that he has made. His testimony is something else. It's really cool. But after a while, we were able to continue our relationship, and it emotionally I got very connected, and I believe he did too. But I started having what I thought were doubts, and I would talk to him about it, but I'd also, we would talk about it, and we just kind of assumed that it was doubts, because we had always had this, the theme of our relationship was, that God was the center. We were going to honor him in it, and that if that was true, that nothing was going to be able to separate us. We thought God would honor that, because we put him in the center. And so we just thought what I was thinking, that we shouldn't necessarily be together, we should back off, we thought I was having doubts. Just because he was getting better, but it was still, he still had progress that needed to be made. But they started growing. For me, when I have doubts, I've had plenty of doubts before, and they don't grow. They pop up here and there, and I confront them, and they go away. And I may have them pop up again, but they don't grow. So I started to be like, okay, I didn't even want to face it anymore. The fact of having to think about me and him needing to separate, because I didn't want to believe that. I thought we were supposed to be together. And so, it was a lot. I was very closed off to the idea. And then I started being like, okay, God, if I'm going to be an obedient daughter of yours, if I'm going to please you with my life, I've got to be open-hearted about whatever it is you want for me. No matter if I like it or not, no matter if I want it or not, no matter if it makes me happy or not. And so, I started having to be open, and it took a couple weeks for me to get an idea of what was gonna have to happen. I was having to really think through it and self-evaluate and really pray about it. And so it started building and building and building, and it got to a point where I couldn't take the convictions anymore. I couldn't just keep pushing them away. I literally was gonna go crazy. So, and we had been dating for a while, and so, I had to tell him my convictions, and of course he wasn't happy about it. Of course it hurt him, and of course it hurt me. That was something I did not want to do. I mean, who wants to stay with somebody 8 or 9 months and go through something very traumatic together, see somebody go through something traumatic, and then decide that they have to leave? It's not normal. You don't hear stories like that. But, and I very much questioned it, but whenever I have a conviction, it doesn't go away. I have this gut-wrenching feeling in my stomach. I have, I just don't think clearly. And so I knew what I needed to do, and I had to tell him that, look, this isn't something I want to do, but if God is really number one, I've got to obey him. And so we are now friends, and we check up on each other, and we're fine. It's fine. I had made him my mission. I had made him and Momo my mission, and that's not my job. That's nobody's job. To have to take anybody's personal life as their mission. That's not why God created me. He created me to do his mission and do what he planned for me. So, there was a lot I had to work through. And it sometimes still doesn't even make sense. But I have to trust in him, and I'm going to. And, so I look back and I'm like, wow. Just, wow. And, so, anyway, so that was hard. Definitely something I did not want to do. I was very I felt like I was abandoning him. I felt like I was, and that is one of the hardest things, if not the hardest thing I've ever had to do, is tell somebody that I want to be with them, but I can't because God is convicting me. That's hard. I wouldn't I hope I never have to do that again. Ever. I'd rather somebody do it to me than me do it back to them. And things happen for a reason. And, so yeah. So, and there's always the possibility, just because you break up with somebody doesn't mean you won't get back together with them. But right now, I am focused on what God has given me, and He wants me to do music. So, my mission is to do God's will, and He wants me to do music. He wants me to play Christian music and reach people and plant that seed and have songs that help them with their spiritual walk and help them connect in a way like, oh my gosh, that is exactly how I'm feeling. And it can walk them through things. Just the power of music in itself is just so therapeutic. And so I'm super excited about what's ahead. I'm nervous, I'm anxious, and I tend to overthink things, but I am super excited. And I cannot wait to see what God has for me in the future. People have always said God's got big plans for you. And I'm starting to see it. A little thing that goes with the testimony, which is huge to me, but it's just a little part. I went to a revival in Louisiana. Paul Daly, the Wild Horse Ministries. If you've never seen them do a demo, it's amazing. Just look them up. Paul Daly, Wild Horse Ministries. And their family is amazing. And they were hosting a revival in Louisiana. A couple of days before I was typing my testimony. And I was all excited, and I've always wanted to share something when I go to one of their revivals, but I don't know what to share, and I knew what to share now. And so I was really excited. And so I worked on it while I was in Louisiana, and I think it was the Friday night, there was a pastor, and it was an open altar to everybody. And, whatever you're dealing with. And I was like, I think I went up there to lay a hand on a woman who, just to pray for her. But I was even hesitant to do that because I knew when I got down there, I was going to have to deal with my own struggles. Once I go to an altar, I got to stay down there for a while, otherwise it's not dealt with. It just takes me a while to work through things. It just does. So, but I went down there. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be the last one. And, but I went down there and I laid my hand on the woman and she got up, she was done. And an altar is just like a long bench. Well, I stay where I was at, and I'm having one knee on the ground and one knee kind of propped up or whatever. And I'm thinking, and I can just, it's hit me. It's hit me hard. And it started out with, and I don't cry in public. Not unless I'm like really upset. I'm not really a big crier, I guess, but crying for me is very, very vulnerable. I'm in a very vulnerable state. But I was crying over my grandmother's death. I was crying over the breakup of me and my boyfriend. And it was just, I was having to say, okay, God, I can't keep being angry at you. I can't keep being angry at myself. I've got to let these missions that I've taken on myself go. Just let it go. And it took me a while. I was the last one at the altar. And I remember my tears started being from weeping of grief and anger to thankfulness for those times. And thankfulness for things I was all of a sudden starting to see. And being in awe of what I could see. And in awe of what the work that had been done that I could now see in those very dark times. And I was amazed that I could see me growing, because I struggle with that. I beat myself up and I overthink things, and I don't encourage myself. And so just seeing the growth that had happened, I was like, wow, that's amazing, God. And all glory to God. None of it me. So I was the last one at the altar. I was like, I knew it, but I needed it. And they had to extend that invitation for me, but I don't regret it, and I'm so glad I stayed there and dealt with it. And so I stayed and I dealt with it. And so I shared my testimony the next day. And of course my computer decided it wasn't going to work, so I had to share it all by memory, by heart, everything. And so and of course afterwards I go to check on my computer and it's working. So I am assuming God did not want me to use my computer. And so after that, though, I've been wanting to share more and more. And so that is why this introduction, I know it's long, but I'm so glad y'all stayed to watch it all. And I just want to thank y'all so much. And I'm excited. And I can't wait to see where I'm headed, where I'm going. And can't wait to see what next God's going to do in my life. And I hope y'all are blessed and can take something from this video. And so, praise Jesus. I'm in awe again. And so I just want to thank you all for your encouraging words. My number one love language is words of affirmation. And so just thank you all, and I appreciate it. Y'all please like and subscribe, and y'all have a great night. Bye-bye.